Welcome back to Property Playbook. We're your hosts, Elena Saradidis
and Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today we're talking all things mistakes when you're a seller.
You sound unsure. Seller mistakes. They are made. We are talking to you about them.
Well, I like to think that, you prep your sellers enough that the least amount of mistakes happen as possible.
I think the thing, though, that you've got to remember, the air show's practicing. I think the thing that you've got to remember is at the end of the day, I think people don't necessarily realize that they're making the mistakes because they're so hung up on something. So they're so hung up on commission, for example, that they're shopping the best deal in town and they've got blinders on to everything else. So I agree. If we have someone, you, myself, et cetera, in our lap and we're getting a listing prepared, I would argue that very few, if any, mistakes are going to be made. I mean, that's obviously our goal. But I think there's a lot of people that go out there and they're like, okay, I know what I'm after. I'm after this. They get laser focused. They're going to get the best deal in town or whatever it is. And then all the mistakes unravel from there.
So I'm going to start with a big one and we can unravel the smaller ones after. But I would say the number one mistake sellers make is when they get an offer, they don't try and work with the offer. It does not matter how low they start. It matters where can they end. And I think a lot of people forget that that's the goal. Like someone can throw a number at you. It doesn't mean you have to take it, but work the number, work every number you get because you never know where it will end. And you never want to leave a sour taste in anyone's mouth.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is dig your heels in and be like, I'm not even looking at your offer. We're not even going to have a conversation with you. You started too low. You insulted my client.
Yeah.
Don't start that way.
No. And I mean, listen, there's so many ways to put an offer in play. You can sign it back. You can verbally communicate. You can do a number of things to keep that offer in play. And I mean, my goodness, I've seen offers that have come in that have moved $100,000. And had we, to your point, not massaged it and not tried and not had the conversations, we never would have gotten it there. So I agree. Anything that comes in on paper should unequivocally be exhausted. And if you can't get to a common ground, great, you tried. But if you can, you're never going to know if you don't. You're never going to know if you don't try.
100%. So that's probably biggest takeaway. I'm telling you right now, biggest takeaway of this episode is literally going to be, if you get an offer as a seller, work the offer because you never know where they'll lead.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is be prepared for showings. Now, when I say be prepared for showings at any time.
Yes.
If someone's in the neighborhood and wants to see this house, let them in. You never know who is the buyer, when they're coming. You don't know. You never want to miss an opportunity, especially in this market with someone that is actively shopping, because no one's shopping for fun.
No.
The weather is still nice. In the winter, people don't shop for fun. In the fall, I would arguably say no one shops for fun. In the summer, open houses, they could be a little fun.
Yeah. But I think the big thing is you always want to be prepared. I mean, I always say to my clients, leave the house in the morning as if you're going to have a showing. You might not have a showing when you leave in the morning. But the last thing we want is a last minute request. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't make the bed. I didn't do the dishes. I didn't this. I know it's a tough process to live through effectively a manicured, perfect property for the time that you need to live in it. But you absolutely need to be ready for somebody to do a last minute booking or somebody to change their mind or somebody. So yes, definitely.
And then
all times that you can accommodate.
And then saying that, leave it ready. Also leave the lights on.
I love leaving the lights on. Oh my goodness. But
I think I just talked dirty to Erica. Leave the lights on.
For houses, we're talking, okay? But no, I think leaving the lights on is the best piece of advice for two reasons. One, people will revisit a property multiple times to look at it and decide if they actually want to buy it. And as we're entering into fall, that means it's getting dark earlier. So that means when they drive by the house at 6 o'clock, it's lit up. They can see inside. It stands out. It's prominent. If it's dark, I mean, goodness, it looks like those depressing houses on Halloween where no one's home to give out candy. You don't want to be that house. And it also makes it so much easier when an agent arrives to the house and the lights are on. They're not fumbling around trying to find the light. I mean, goodness, I can barely figure out the lights in my own house, and I've lived there now for quite some time. It's complicated.
But what sellers need to remember as well is when someone opens up the door and everything's all the lights are on, it shows different than when you open up the door, the lights are off, you have to take off your shoes, turn on all the lights. The feeling, the wow feeling, the first impression of the house is different. leave the lights on.
Totally.
I know it's not the most environmentally thing we
No.
can do, but like lights
Yeah.
on in the morning, lights on in the evening. And on our vacant properties, like we send an agent there
Yeah.
every morning to turn on the lights, make sure it looks perfect, turn off the lights after the last
Totally.
showing of the day.
Yeah. No, but
And-
you want it looking. And then that's also to your point. They walk in and they're greeted by this beautiful house. They're not greeted where they're all trying to take their shoes off and someone's like, oh, let me get the light and another light. And then they're walking through and then light on in the living room, light on in the dining room, light on in the kitchen. Like it just, yeah, the lights is a no-brainer.
My next point, declutter.
Yeah.
Declutter, because people do check storage space. And if your storage is over full, they're going to be like, well, there has to be not enough storage space in this house because how are they so full?
Yeah.
They could not know your life. Maybe like, you know, you have like 18 kids and everyone has things and everything's everywhere. But like when people open up drawers and they're maxed to the max, they're just like, there might not be enough storage in this house.
Absolutely. Well, then they think, okay, they've outgrown the house. So I think declutter for me goes twofold. Declutter goes in the like declutter all the like, you know, the cupboards, the everything, so nothing's bursting. But I would also say declutter goes to like the personal things. Like you don't think about it necessarily because sometimes I feel like all of clients that are like, oh, should I leave my nice family photo because it shows like this nice, beautiful family of 4 or what have you. But then same thing, I find sometimes people will walk in and let's say they're a couple thinking about being a family of 4. They see a family of 4 and go, oh, the family of 4 is outgrowing this house. Ooh, I don't know. This might not be the right house for me. Meanwhile, the family's thinking they're leaving this beautiful photo to entice this lovely couple to buy it. I think you got to think about decluttering on all, you know, all realms.
Yeah. It's not just that. People can tell if you've outgrown the home. So I've been in situations where I've been in the house with my clients and they're expecting their second.
Yeah.
And I'll literally be like, these guys are moving out because they're expecting their second.
Yeah. Or they've just had their second.
And they're like, what? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I guarantee you
Yeah.
there's a 4th member of this family that is either coming or it's here.
Yeah.
And that's why they're moving.
Absolutely.
And then the moment we leave and we're in our cars and their car pulls into the driveway and there's 4 of them coming out with a dog, we're like,
oh, bingo.
so if they outgrew it, we're going to outgrow it. So
Absolutely.
we need to look for something
Yeah.
else. Another key factor, the way you live is not the way you always sell. And like, don't take it the wrong way if we ask you to remove all your stuff. Like, it's not personal. It's
No.
really not.
Yeah.
It's just, if we want to attract the highest price possible, we need to catch the most amount of buyers possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means, and this sounds so bad, but my clients use this term all the time. They're like, you're sterilizing the place. Like, I've turned everything white and black, and they're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But there is a formula, and the formula works well. Paint the house white. If something needs to be fixed, fix it before listing.
Yeah.
If you know something is broken, I'm not talking about like do a full gut job. And I rarely ever recommend doing that unless that makes the most sense. But if something is broken, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
Because they will hang on to that point, and during the negotiation, during the revisit, at the final table on closing, they will bring up
Definitely.
the fact that it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't put yourself in that position. Have it all fixed, have it all perfect before they walk into the property.
Yeah. The other piece I think is commission. I think people get really stuck on commission, and it's a lot of money. I get it. I'm not in any way saying that the cost of working, you know, with a real estate agent is a drop in the bucket. But I think fixating on the commission and the figure versus fixating on the service and what you're actually hiring somebody to do is where sellers make mistakes. Because when you get so laser focused on one thing, you lose sight of everything else. And I think it's really important to understand what you want as a seller, what you need as a seller, and how you're going to get the market to meet that. And so it's not just commission. There's a lot more that goes into that commission.
So the funny thing is, and this has happened to me twice now in the last month. So I had 2 listings, both listings that I have had, I've now sold, which I'm very happy about. This specific scenario, we've had other listings. Please buy anything else we have on the market. I'm PSA. If you're listening, look up my listings, bring me an offer. But these specific 2 listings are standouts because something happened during the listing appointment that, you know, it's more common now than before. A lot of agents that walked in started discounting their commission, which is completely fine. I get it. But, you know, you pay for what you want. Now, I'm full service. I do a lot for my clients. If you ask me to break down how much it costs me to put your property on the market, I can tell you it to the dollar amount when I come in and see it. I can tell you how much it's going to cost me, how much the staging is going to be, how long it's going to be on the market. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to fix so we can sell it. So I had a client, we sold their property last week or the week before, and there were 10 units available in the building. 10 units. When I came into my listing appointment, they said, we've interviewed 3 agents, you're the most expensive one. I'm actually not, like, I'm the average commission. I'm not an insane amount of money. Like, it is still a lot of money, but
it's a lot of money. But yeah, but no, you're not above average.
I'm not charging anything different. And the first thing I said, well, what are they including? And they said, well, they told me to just list it the way it is and it will sell. And I said, well, funny enough, there's 6 on the market right now in your building. They're all listed, I'm pretty sure the way that they are, and none of them are selling. So what I'm telling you to do is this long list of laundry, basically. I need all of this stuff done. And when we finish all of this stuff, and I will help you do every single thing on this list, you're going to be sold.
Yep.
By the time we came to market, there were 10. We were the only one that sold. You get what you pay for in some cases.
You really do. And that's why I think commission is one of those things that people get so stuck on the figure and not everything that comes with the figure. Because if you really want to get it sold, you need somebody that really knows how to get it sold. And that person typically comes with tremendous experience, a huge process from start to finish, as you mentioned, and
they don't
the ability
cut
to do
corners.
it. Exactly.
They don't cut corners. This is a market that if you are a listing agent, and this is a PSA to anyone interviewing listing agents.
You're on the PSAs today.
Yeah. Public service announcement. If you are interviewing a listing agent and the listing agent isn't telling you things to do, your house is just so amazing, like there might actually be a problem in your interview, because I've rarely ever walked into a house and been like, there's nothing for me to do.
No.
We can list as is. Rarely.
Agreed.
Like I still have, even in the Taj Mahal of houses, I've been like, you still need to paint this. You still need to do this.
Absolutely.
You still need to do that. And the reason why I tell people to do this is because we want to limit the amount of objections we get.
Yep.
When someone walks in, it needs to look perfect.
Yep.
So like it comes back around to like, make sure the place looks great before you list it. When you're choosing a listing agent, yes, commission's going to play a factor. We all know this is going to play a factor. But if someone told you, you pay a little bit more in commission, but you're going to make an extra 5, 10, 15, 20% on your sale, are you going to pay a little bit more in commission and make sure it's done right?
100% you will.
You also have to remember this. Everyone has full-time jobs. You don't want to be micromanaging your agent. Your agent's full-time job is selling your home. That's their job. Let them do their job and sell your home. You don't want someone that's not fully invested in selling your home.
Agreed. No, agreed.
And fully invested means we're putting in money to make sure your home sells.
Oh, absolutely.
And the risk on the agent lies. If the home doesn't sell, we've just spent all that money. So you have to remember, go with an agent that's going to put a little skin in the game, because their bottom line is also, we got to get this house sold for the most amount of money possible. It's their reputation too. I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make sure you sell. And the same thing happened with that second listing, where we're one of 6.
Yep.
We're the only one sold right now.
Yep. No,
so like
it makes a huge difference.
The process works.
The process works,
in the process.
The strategy works. And I think you've got to trust the process and trust the strategy. And I think it can be, and this is all of life, not just real estate. It can be so easy to get fixated on one thing and lose sight of everything else. And you don't want to do that as a seller trying to sell.
So I think we gave a couple little tidbits on what you need to be aware of if you are selling. I think those are pretty much the biggest selling mistakes that you could possibly make.
So I think maybe the only one that we left out is, not prepping, not staging, not putting in the elbow grease. I think that did tie a little bit into the commission piece and the prep piece. Excuse me.
I should have said clean. Make sure your house is clean.
Yeah, I was going to say,
make sure it's clean.
I don't want to say that's just a non-negotiable, but I actually think it has to be said that it is a non-negotiable, because some people just choose not to clean. But yeah, the deep clean needs to happen. The staging, the prep, the, elbow grease, the time, the trades, all of those go into it. But I think some of those tie heavily into an agent, where I think some of the bigger mistakes, like the sign backs, like the lights on, those are some really great pointers that I think people just sometimes forget about or lose sight of, or again, get stuck on conserving energy versus leaving their lights on.
Also, and this is another one, sorry, bonus, a little bonus. If you are cooking, which we get it, sometimes you live in the house.
Oh yeah, good one.
Leave the windows open when you're cooking.
Yeah.
Air it out.
Unless you're baking cookies.
And yeah, cookies are great.
Smell great.
And then be worried also, like I get sometimes like cooking smells, but also like Febreze smells really strong.
Oh gosh, you're better to
don't spray your whole house in Febreze,
or use air fresheners. The air fresheners are horrendous. Unplug them. Do not use them. They are awful. Oh my gosh, the air fresheners. How do we not get?
But like when there's like 12 in the house, and let me tell you, sometimes there is. We walk in, the first thing you're
choking.
is like, oh my God, the house smells.
But you're choking on that. And then the next thing is, what are they hiding?
Exactly.
So you might love your air fresheners. You might think they smell incredible, but they are not everybody's taste, number one. And number two, they typically are then viewed as masking something.
Like,
and on that, I'm also going to say lilies are very polarizing. They are. When we're talking scents, that is a flower, in my opinion, that I would omit, because I have found a lot of clients walk in and they're like, what is that smell? And 9 times out of 10,
it's a lily.
So I'm just putting that out there.
Don't put lilies in your house.
A bonus.
And like another little tip for that whole smell thing, because like you don't know, maybe you have kids in hockey and like, you know, you're used to it. But I would have like someone that you're close with come over and just like sniff your house. This sounds bad. Erica's laughing. Erica's literally laughing. No, but like
here I'm gonna offend anyone that likes a lily, and you're like, bring over a friend to smell your house.
But okay, am I wrong? How many times do you bring a client into a house, you open up the door, there's a smell, and your clients are automatically turned off?
Hence why I just put the lilies on the table.
How uncomfortable is it as a listing agent to be like, you know, you gotta do something?
Yeah. But I mean, listen, I'm the first to say it.
Would you rather hear it from your friend or from a stranger?
Well, your agent's not a stranger. Anyways, either bring in a friend or have an agent that is willing to walk over.
A little sniff test.
Smell your house however you want.
The funny thing is I've had clients, because they are like, your clients become your friends. It happens. So I don't consider them my clients. They're my friends. So call your friend over to come smell your house. But I've had clients be like, does it smell? And I'm like, no, you're good. And they're like, okay, good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you.
It's really important though. It's really important.
It's the first thing. Even in like condo lobbies, I've had people be like, oh my God, it smells so good in here. And it's because they use diffusers now in condo lobbies.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to use a scent, that's where I think you can do something. A nice essential oil and a diffuser is spot on. Anything outside of that, hard no.
Cut it out.
Okay.
Well, that's Property Playbook for you. Once again, it's your host, Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And if you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.